screen. Perfect. Right. I guess you can see my screen, guys. So let me start the presentation. Thank you. Let me start the presentation. Slideshow. One day. Perfect. Okay. So tonight we want to, I want to show you how we can maximize our efficiency with Copilot, with Fabric, both Data Factory and notebooks. So data engineering. So basically, what is Copilot? I guess we all know what is Copilot, but tonight I'm going to show you how to use Copilot in Fabric. So Copilot is a very powerful tool. It can save you time because you don't have to, in Data Factory, you don't have to click everywhere to find what you have to do. It can helps you with the code. It can help you modifying your code in a notebook. It can also help you to debug some code. Let's say you have a code that is not working. I'm going to show you that later into a demo. So compare it, because sometimes we see Copilot and stuff like this, compare it with the Travel Evolution. When I was younger, my father was, when we were going somewhere, I remember many times we had to park on the side of the highway, right? And we had to look at the map because we were lost, right? At some point. So this is this was way before the advent of the GPS, right? So GPS gained popularity in the year 2000. I remember purchasing mine in 2008. Yeah, I was so happy now. I was so modern. No need to have those paper maps or the small box that you had to look like I'm going to this street. So it's on page 35. So this in the right corner. So I don't even remember how they look like now precisely. And nowadays we have GPS, right? Why I'm talking about that is because Pilot is a bit an evolution of what we were doing. Since maybe not the 40s, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 70s and 80s, we use codes, right? We are writing code big time. We have some graphic user interface, the GUI that appears for the data engineering. It should be SSIS. For the developers, you might have Microsoft Access, Visual Basic, Visual C#, those fat clients, or you have the web, the web graphic user interface guide or help. So Copilot can help us both with GUI, so graphic user interface with the UI, and the code. I'm going to show that to you. But Copilot will not replace you. Okay, it's only your assistant. And based on that, I don't know if you know him. His name is Dave Plummer. He worked at Microsoft, I would say, at the beginning of the 80s. He worked on MS-DOS, Windows NT, 3.5, 3.51, NT4, up to Windows Server 2003. Now the guy is a millionaire, is rich, is retired now, but he has an opinion on that, right? So the guy is a coder, a very hardcore coder. So
activity to machines.
Can you hear the sound of the video, guys?
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you're an artist who can't produce better work than a computer, then you're not adding a lot of value as an artist, and that's true in most every field. Everyone's going to have to adapt to some extent, and I think it's going to change coding a great deal. There might be a lot less grunt work, more creative work, more cross-team and executive function stuff. The daily job for a lot of developers will be less about the minutiae and more about assembling blocks to form some big picture. I think for the near to medium term, AI might produce the pieces which then you assemble into some kind of workable solution for the user. But in terms of being able to feed custom requirements into an AI and have it kick out a multi-tiered, secure solution with a well-thought-out user interface, I think that's still a fair ways away. But I don't claim to know for certain. I guess big picture, I see AI as freeing us from a lot of the drudgery of coding and allowing us to invest our efforts at a higher level.
Do you?
All right. So you understood what it means. It's only an assistant. And to be honest with you, I work with a client in Singapore, and those people, they have, let me just switch the
Have a
check
contrarian
this
bet
slide.
against
Sorry.
any current.
It's a longer video. I just want to switch to the other slide. All right, perfect. So the thing is, my client asked me, hey, we have 18,000 tables, right? Can we find the golden records on these tables using AI? At some point, AI is very powerful. It might learn a lot, but to find the golden record stuff like this, you still need a human judgment, right? So it can assist me by if I ask, it's a healthcare data, give me all the table that contain patients. Yes, it will help me, right? Because for a coder, for a programmer, it will be something very boring to do. Parsing 18,000 table, we don't want to do it, but the assistant will simply would do it for you, right? So maybe on the 18,000 tables, you have only 50 to parse. So on those 50 now, the human can have his own judgment, right? So as you see on this slide, Copilot requirement, it's not that free, right? It's quite expensive. So you need Fabric capacity F64 or higher, or Power BI Premium. No trial SKUs are supported. I'm sorry, and Copilot has to be enabled into your tenant. Last week, I was working at a client. I was coding for him into a Fabric notebook. And I say, oh, I have any issues with that. What's the code? What code should I use, right, in Python for it? And I try, okay, I'm going to crank up the capacity to F64 for a few minutes and use Copilot to help me. But the Copilot was not enabled in his tenant, so I was not able to do it. And it's still in public preview. It's not the final version that I'm going to show you tonight. All right, so a quick demo on the options that we have. Capacity reverse reserved versus pay as you go. So if I go to my browser here, just to show you that here, right? So if I go to here, perfect. I created a Fabric capacity, right? And you look at the prices here, right? It's Canadian price. F64, you run it 7 a month, right? 24/7 for a month. It's almost $13,000. Divide that by 730 hours, which is the number I was looking for a few seconds ago. So divided by this number, it's with taxes, we're talking about $20 per hour. Okay, so if you want to use Copilot, let's say for a few days per week, that's okay, right? It's not that expensive here. And F64 is the bare minimum to use Copilot here. So you look at this price here, and now if I go to the Azure pricing, Copilot F64, I mean CA here. Okay, F64 here, 1 year reserve. You see the price. So this is the reserve instance price here, compared to the other one, which was the pay as you go. So we pay by the minute here. So here I pay this model. If I don't use, if I use the pay as you go, it's almost the same price that we saw before here. So, and you can say, you know what, I'm going to use it, maybe not a month, but I'm going to use it, let's say 200 hours. 200 hours. So 200 hours so it's basically a working month, right? So it's $3,500. Now you have the storage that goes with it. So basically 1 terabyte is $33, but this is the basic storage for one lake. You have to understand that if you want to have disaster recovery with one lake on multiple region, you need to add this, right? So $60 per terabyte. If you want to have more cache, right? Because basically you can have with the F2, you can have 300 million rows in cache. If you want to add more cache, then it's going to be more expensive. So this is how we can price. So these are our options that we have with Fabric and Copilot. Right, let's go back to the presentation now. Any questions so far? No, so I'm clear, I guess. It might come after. So what is Fabric Data Factory, right? Fabric Data Factory, basically it's your ETL in the cloud with the user interface. You can create and schedule orchestrate data pipeline, do some transformations here using Power Query. So this is Azure Data Factory. Now, how can Copilot can help there? Copilot can only works for now in a data flow Gen 2. In a data flow. Yes, you have a question? Go ahead.
Hi, yes. So sorry, before you get into the Fabric Data Factory, now I have a basic question is,
sure.
Now I'm getting confused, about, the terminology or what they call their different products is. It's ADF, and then there's Synapse, and then there is Fabric. Can you try at least to unconfuse me?
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm laughing because I was working maybe not almost 20 years ago with a product that we call now the SQL Server Database Project, right? I don't know if you heard that, right? When Microsoft put it in the market in 2006, it was called DataDude, right? Then after that, they call it Visual Studio Database Projects, something like that, for database professional. Then they name it after that SSDT, SQL Server Data Tools, right? So Microsoft is good at that, right? Data Factory, the good old Data Factory that I loved a lot. I wrote books of that on the Data Factory. Microsoft, it first appeared in 2015. It was JSON based, so you had to write you had to use some JSON template and code, right? So now they put a user interface on that in 2018. So now the Data Factory that we have in Fabric is not the same Data Factory that we have in the classic Data Factory. The classic Data Factory is still there for a while because a lot of people are using that in 2018. If you think about that, 2018 is 6 years, right? Microsoft cannot migrate them to the new factory that is in Fabric. And also, you saw the price that I had before, right? You purchase a Fabric, right? Data Factory, if you don't use Data Factory for a week, you run a pipeline once per week, you only pay for that pipeline. So with Fabric, you pay for the whole set. It's a platform as a service. It's software as a service compared to platform as a service for Data Factory. Data Factory will be more expensive than Fabric. If you use it a lot, you have a lot of data and stuff like this, the price will vary compared to Fabric. Data Factory had data flows, which called mapping data flows, and they had Power Query data flows. What Microsoft brought into Fabric Data Factory is basically the activity pane, the copy activity, a few metadata activity. They brought the Power Query data flow, but they didn't brought the mapping data flows. I don't know if you know them. The mapping data flow were like SSIS. Okay. You have derived column, you have source, you have aggregation. So this was Data Factory, the classic one. Now, Synapse. Microsoft introduced Synapse in 2020. Now Synapse, I guess they did not have the traction that as much as they like, because Synapse was almost like Fabric up to a point, because you have the Data Factory pipeline, you had the Spark pool, so you could do code with Spark, and you had access to one Power BI workspace. So this is the main difference. So what they brought now is Fabric is an evolution of both Data Factory and Synapse. They are bringing components that we had in Data Factory and Synapse into Fabric, bit by bit. Do I help you, or do I confuse you more?
No, that's great. I have a follow-up question though. But so now, if is Fabric meant to be, less code, and Synapse is more involved, and you can plug in Databricks notebooks and all the other elements, or like
No,
is
Fabric
one
depends
meant
what you
for a
use.
different audience? Yeah.
Yeah, Fabric is like Synapse a bit, right? You have the mapping the data flows. In Synapse, here is the Power Query data flows that you have. You have the Spark notebooks. You have the Spark notebooks in Fabric. It's not meant to. I would say. Compared to the mapping data flow, now you write more code than you were doing with
Okay.
Synapse. Because if you do the mapping data flow with Synapse, how to do an upsert, right? So update or insert. Now you need to do a merge into a notebook. You cannot do it with Data Factory in its current state, right? It will evolve, but it's not there yet. A lot of things are missing, like with Synapse or Data Factory, you could have the storage account event to trigger your pipeline. So somebody puts a file somewhere into a blob storage, and as soon as Data Factory or Synapse see it, it's going to trigger a pipeline. We don't have it yet with Data Factory.
Really? Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So sorry, I'm not going to take much more of your time anymore. But so in essence, so you're saying Fabric is going to replace whoever has implemented anything in Synapse?
Yes. Yes and no. Right? They will they will bring slowly and surely the functionality that you have in Synapse and Data Factory. The one that
Okay.
to best with you, it's normal. It's a question of money at the end of the day, right? The one that will use the most. Okay, they will bring it slowly and surely into Fabric, but I can tell you that in 5 years from now, you will still have people using Data Factory, right?
Yes.
Unless Microsoft say, no, you know what, now you can't use anymore because you brought everything to Fabric, or you need to modify your code.
But more than likely,
Sorry, I think
sorry, so more than likely, then Synapse will go away. And
more than
just
likely, that's not, I don't think so. I don't think they can.
Sorry to interrupt you guys, but looking at the time, right? A lot of
sure.
attendees here. I think
you.
can we
Sorry
take this
about
all
that. So thank you.
question at the later? Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Thanks. All right. So great questions by Louis. So it's a question that I've been asking myself for a long time. But if you basically if you have a new project, you should use Fabric, right? But you can still maintain the other projects. All right. So you set that aside for a while now. So the thing is, you can use Copilot here. Only let me just check here this guy here. Laser, right? You can use it only with the Data Factory Gen 2, right? The Data Flow Gen 2 here. It can save you time because if you use, I'm going to do a demo on that next, it will save you time because you don't have to click and point everywhere to do what you have to do. So yeah, perfect, right timing. I was talking about that. So, okay, let me go to here, right? We're done with this. All right, so now let me go to this guy here. Copilot, I might not be at the right place, a bit too early. Go to my pipeline one, and I'm going to create a data flow from scratch, okay? I'm going to import from Excel, right? So I'm going to upload from here. Right, sign next. All right, so this is my file sheet one. I'm happy with it, right? You see, I need to do some cleanup here, right? So create. Now this is the first step. Since I have the F64 capacity, Copilot is available for me. So what we're going to do now, we're going to add more steps to it, right? Now I want to get rid of the first 8 rows. So since you're not here to see me typing, I have those in my board. Remove the first 8 rows. So instead, I know, no, I would have been able to see keep rows, right? Highlight them and remove rows or keep rows. So it depends on what I'm gonna do, but this guy is going to do it for me, right? See, now it's done. Now, use the first row as header, right? It would be possible to do it again with a click, but I don't have to know anything about the UI here. I'm just saying, please do it for me. This is trivial, right? What we're asking now is really trivial. Now it's done. One thing you have to notice, I can undo the last step here, but I have the undo for a short while, but I can always undo here in my query. Now you see, now we have all of these nice column headers now. Now let's do something a bit more complex. Add a column called line total with other fees with the sum of line total. So add a new column with the sum of line total, tax, and freight. And also round it to 2 decimals. Because if I don't do it, we'll have it will do the calculation, and sometimes you see we have 4 decimals here. I just want to have it with 2 decimals. Now, if I scroll it here, this is my new column, right? And the type of this column here, if I go to transform, the data type of it is decimal here. I have it somewhere. You see, even I don't use this UI very often. So now change it to a currency column. It's going to do it. All right, so basically, if I go to, I don't think we need this query here. So you see my column now, it's now a currency. Before that, it wasn't that. So now I did a few things here. Let's say someone arrived in this query, right? They don't know what this thing means, right? Custom, one, change column type. So let me describe the query steps. Here, it's going to say source one connect, change the data type of the column in the table here. It did it by itself. Skip the first 8 rows, promote the headers here. Yeah, to a variable that we don't care about that. Change the data type here, add new columns, right? Basically, everything I added. So if I close this data flow, save it and close it, someone they don't know what I did, they can always describe the query steps. Now I can also say here, we go here. Now this is only one query. Add a new query with the column purchase order number and the top 3 line total. So purchase order number here and the top 3 line totals here. So you need to do it. It's going to create a new query. Query 2. It's here. So now I don't like this query. I don't like the result here. So I can move to the other, but I can also do undo here. It's going to remove the query. Now one last thing I want to show you is I want to filter. You see other provenance that I have. It's a column that I have here. Phone order, online order. It's going to show. Sorry, did anyone have a comment or question? No, okay. Right. So now it's going to filter out the result to me to only to phone orders, right? And the filter you see it's applied here. So I can do much more, but basically this is quite interesting that now I can say describe the query steps here. This is what I can do. You see, I only chatted with Copilot here. I didn't do anything. I didn't play much with this those transformation here. So to me, this is more an analyst that want to analyze the data here, and or power user. They might find Copilot more easier to use than with someone that is very fluent with the mapping data flow with Power Query. They know where to go, right? It might be faster than writing and waiting for them to do it. Or if I want to use the advanced editor, these are all of the steps that have been done. Someone might be very fluent with that again, and they might be able to write this code here. Right, so this is what I wanted to show you, what wanted to show about, yeah, close it, about Data Factory with Copilot. Now, I know we have people that like code here, right? So, what are notebooks and fabrics, right? Notebooks are basically everything you can do with Data Factory, because some components are missing, some functions are missing, or you want to do something a bit more advanced than Data Factory, and you are fluent in or Python or SQL or right, so or Scala, you will use the notebooks here. Right, so they are they're used by data scientists, used by data engineers to describe the code. We have some steps in the notebook. I'm going to show you one later. So, how can Copilot help with notebook? This is where Copilot shines with Fabric the most, because it can generate code. It will save time and effort by when we write and debug, because I want to add a new column with something similar to identity, right? So a sequential number, I can do it with Copilot. If I know the syntax, yes, I can write it in Python, I can Google it, but with Copilot in my notebook, I don't need to think about it, right? I'm just going to add Copilot to do it. Is going to do it for me. So Copilot integration with Fabric Notebook. Let me go to here. Oh yeah, this is something else. So just one here. So you can add a logic app here that will start and stop your capacity, your pay as you go capacity. So it's possible to do it. So this guy, I started at 6:30 a.m. and stopped it at 7 p.m. So we don't pay for nothing during the night. But what I want to show you is my notebook. So when we use Copilot with Notebook, get started here. And now, yeah, you see, just run this cell here. And let me just move this and do this. Run this cell here. So load, sorry about that. With my Copilot here, home, Copilot, thank you. Perfect. Because I need to have one cell, very important at the top here, perfect. So we're going to run this Python wheel here. And what it's going to do, it's going to install the chat magics, everything we need to have to interact with Copilot.
Christian, is it possible to zoom in a little bit?
Oh, yeah. Let me check. Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
much
better. Much better. Yeah. No, good.
Yeah. So now it's starting a session, running cell number 2. Yes, I could not do it in Data Factory, but I can do it here. So this is my lakehouse. My lakehouse has only one table here, and I have a file, which is an Excel file. Excel are not easy to work with the notebook usually, because you can have a library to load the Excel into your notebook, but those libraries are not easy to find out, to install. They are not common. Like you can say, I need a library from PyPy to load in Excel, right? So it's much different. So usually Excel is not very big. So we are using Pandas here, Pandas library here, and with the read Excel. I'm just waiting for that guy to finish here. And to show you how Copilot is not ready for every, I would say, medium to advanced step that we want to do. Is it done? Is this guy done? Check here. No, it's still running. We'll wait a bit. It's done. Okay, perfect. Now, Microsoft warns you. Your data is not used to train the model, not available to the customer. Stop out to 30 days, and they may be reviews by Microsoft. You are sharing the message you sent here, and the reply from LLM. You are sharing the content of your cell. You are sharing the output of your cell, the schemas, right? Basically, so you are sharing some simple data here. So if you have some secrets, it might not be a good idea to use Copilot. Now, Chat Magic, right? They give you some example here. I'm going to show you a few of them. Code, load my data, chat, code. We'll get back to them. I'm going to show you. Now, I say percentage code, right? The code, the Chat Magic here. Let's execute this step here. Okay, just remove Copilot because we don't need it for a while. Okay, perfect. So just close it. Right? It's going to run and import pandas. Okay, so the real syntax is this one here with pandas, but still I have, if I run this, it's going to fail. It's going to tell me I cannot find, right? This error here, see, no such file of or directory. So, but what I have the, I would say the plumbing here, right? So all I have everything I need here. So I just need to change the path. So this is what I did here. I found this path by going there, going to the file here, and basically copy ABFS path, right? So the data lake path. Okay, so I did it. Now if I load it here, you're going to see the same file I showed you before. Same file. No headers, right? It's showing me those first rows that I before the data is after that. So now I want to get the date into from the data frame and store it into a variable into the report, right? So let's ask Copilot to do it for me. It's not that far, but it gives me the basic, right? If I run this, I will have another number column. And even the DF, yeah, because so the data report here, so the DF does not exist, right? So because the DF is DFXL. So let me do it here. That's easy, change DFXL. Right, and now we'll have something like, yeah, of course, data report. Copy it here. Yeah, you see, I have something that maybe this is not what I want, right? These are my PO numbers. Now, the syntax that I use here is dfxl.iloc. The real syntax after that is to use this here, dfiloc 0.1. So I just want to have the date. Yes, and date of report here. See, this is what I want. The date of the report, which is, we go back here, the date here. Now, so now I was more precise, right? I said, load me the file, right, with the path, because I knew here. So I would import pandas. Now it was able to generate this cell here, right? So header equals to 8. If I run it now, because now I wanted to grab the date somewhere. Now I'm going to get the file here, right? Now I want to remove the state, the space into the column name. The reason for that is that I want to save it ultimately to a table. The Delta format or the Parquet format, they don't support spaces or special characters in the column names. So I'm just going to ask him to do it, but basically it's going to do the same thing that, yeah. You see, DF column is, yeah, here. Now my data frame is called PDF. It doesn't know that, so I don't need this cell. So now I want to see, yeah, you see now all the spaces have been removed. Now, if we go up here, I'm sorry, so they say percentage describe, right? We're still in preview. This is percentage describe, so they made a typo here, or they did not implement it like that. So if I go to describe my PDF here, it's not going to tell me much, right? Yeah, you see, this is my structure here. I can copy it and paste it somewhere. I can leave it there. If I want to see the data types, right, I need to do some Python here. And you see, everything is object in Python anyway, except a few types here. So this is, so everything is object, I mean the strings here. Now I want to run the data frame here. So I did it, I can run it again here. Right? And I'm doing it, now it's going to generate the same cell here, right? Oh, no, you see? Now it thought it was Python, right? Run the, if I say run the Spark data frame. Let's see what it does. Because it created that for me. Yeah, you see? So sometimes we need to say run Spark because otherwise the LLM thinks it's only Python. So basically, this is the mistake that he did. And this is the real result. That's funny enough, sometimes we run it again. And now you understand that I wanted Spark because I asked it before. Let's see if it works. No, see, this would work perfectly in Python, right? This would not work with Spark. If I run it, Spark doesn't know where it is. Yeah. I need to see PDF here. So if I do PDF.head.
Christian, do you
I
want to
don't know
take any
if the
question now?
penthouse, I'm sorry.
Sorry, do you want to take any question now, or you'll wait?
Yeah, sure,
There's
sure.
someone
Go
who's
ahead.
asking some question. If
Oh,
anyone
absolutely,
have
yeah.
question, I think someone raised their hand. Please feel free to ask the question.
Okay, I didn't see it.
No, I was sorry. I raised my hand. So this percentage size code is actually this cell will talk to Copilot.
Yeah, yeah. They intercept what you're writing there, right? They call
Yeah.
it chat magic. They intercept what you are writing there. They send that to somewhere in the US, right? To a server in US somewhere, to a data center, and now they return you the code.
Oh, so it doesn't execute. It'll just return the code and then you execute the code.
Yes, yeah,
I see. Okay, and that's how you review the code before you execute it.
yes.
All right. Thank you.
See, okay, now I'm going to convert it to Spark data frame, right? So let me do it here.
Christian,
So now
one
you
question.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, one question. So for the Copilot, I'm very used to with the ChatGPT. So like Copilot also
Young
doing
Sen, how are you? My
Good,
friend.
good. So is it
I've worked with you
Copilot?
before. Yes. Go ahead.
Is the Copilot also doing the recommendation or optimization? Like if you ask optimize or the recommendation for the notebook, then does it also does that for us?
Yes.
But I know the coding optimization we can do it, but is it also doing the cluster optimization job or
No.
those kind of?
No, because now you are in Fabric.
Oh, okay,
Right.
gotcha.
In Fabric, it's software as a service. So Microsoft is doing that for you.
Sorry,
One
one
thing
more
that-
point.
Yeah,
Sorry,
sure.
one more question. Does it also recognize the images as well? Like, for example, we send we put in the image for the arrow sign or those kind of stuff. Does it reading that too?
I haven't tried. I cannot tell you. I haven't tried with it. Me, I'm using it for data engineering. So for the images, to be honest with you, when you look at the chat magic that we have here, right? I don't see. You see, you have translate code from SQL to Python, right? Fix errors. I don't think we have it now, but I cannot. I don't have this answer.
No problem. Yeah, sometimes we just screenshot the arrow sign and then send to it. So that's why. I'm
Yeah,
asking that,
paste it
yeah.
there. Yeah, I'll upload it, right? Because the screenshot would have to be in OneLake. So you need to upload the screenshot somewhere. So you need to read it with Python, right? Into a data frame. So, all right. So I converted it. Yeah, perfect. Now I'm going to display my data frame. Now, I know that it's going to rely on that because when I generate that code here, instead he gave me f.toDate, so I had to add this line here. But it's always a good practice to import all of these functions. Now I said convert the order date, ship date to the date data type. Except of the f that I needed to import a function, the syntax was there, right? And now I have dates. Now I know that time flies, but I'm going to go here, add a column called reporting date here. And I want to, and the data report variable. Let me do it here. Let's see if that guy is clever enough to do it. Yeah, the date is here. The only, if I run it here, yeah, what's missing is the f dot. If I run it, I should, yeah, I will have it. So now if I do a display here, let me remove this cell here. I'm doing some cleanup at the same time. Now at the end of this data frame, I will have my report date, right? So I can filter on that. I can after that use it to partition my data if I have a lot, right? Now I want to have a SHA column, right? A SHA-256 column here. So I simply ask Copilot, can you do it for me? Yes, it did it, and the syntax was good. So if I display it now, I need to do it first. And then I'm going to display. Usually we use a column like that to be able to compare rows versus another row to do a merge. So yeah, you see my SHA column is there. Now I can save the data frame into a new table, or I can merge. So if I say only merge here into the table, my table is AD sales.AW sales here. If I want to merge that data frame to my table, oh, it's not the right reason. I'm not in SQL. Right? So if I run this, right? So mode happened, right? They say merge mode happened. Me, I want to have a real merge like that here. So I can do insert if not found. If I do that, the syntax will be different. Now it's going to do a real merge. No, not even. Okay. It was working before because this is what I had, and I did not write it. So for some reason, the demo god is not with me tonight. So now I can describe here my describe the show, but what I wanted to show you is here. If I go here, it was AI code. Me run this cell first. Then on top of the cell, says add comments. So it's working. Sometimes it add comments, sometimes not. So yeah, you see, it worked. We have to be patient. It's still in preview. It does, but it helps us to add comments because a lot of the developers don't have the comments, right? So if I go now, I want to see Copilot again. Perfect, I'm good. And now I can generate insight from my data. So I just want to see it here. So usually it wants now. Analyze and provide. Okay, yeah. My darling, I need to provide in Excel. Yeah, of course. My data frame here. Working it. Move this empty cell for nothing. Right. So it tells me a kind of documentation here, right? Sales order, shipping date, data frame include columns here. So, but I want to go a bit further. So I want to suggest data visualization, right? So let me go here. I know it's not the best data frame for it. I don't have a lot of interesting columns. Right, working. Right, geographic. Usually it suggests me to have more stuff like this because I did it before. Believe me, it works. Sometimes we have some. So that guy told me you can have the top product, top customer, monthly sale, yearly sale. So let me run those sales because I did it before.
You also have a question in the chat.
Yeah,
question.
please. Yeah, go ahead. Yes. Oh, sorry. In the chat, can you read for me because I don't.
Oh, sorry. Actually, no. Someone has their hand up. Vijaya.
Oh,
You
yeah.
want to come off mute? Okay, there you go.
Thank you for
Hi,
taking my
John.
question. So
Yeah.
does the Copilot help convert a store proc to a PySpark or Python?
Yeah, if it's equal, yes.
Yeah,
If it's
if
equal,
it's complicated, if it's multiple transactions within a commit.
Transactions, yeah, okay. Transactions, we had because transactions are not supported by a lakehouse. Here we are in a lakehouse, right? Transactions are supported only on one table. So if you have big trends, it will not work.
Okay. So, but how about data warehouse? Will it work there? No.
Copilot is not in the data warehouse for now.
Oh, it's
It's
not. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Look,
So
if I have something like
any update on it?
Sorry.
No. Will it be supported later?
That I don't know. I don't know if I guess they will bring it, right? Because you have it with Power BI. But next week there is the Fabric conference in Las Vegas. I will go there, so I will be able to answer this question for sure.
Oh, that'll be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just find me on LinkedIn, and I will be able to answer your question. Here, you see,
Christian,
I have
is it
this,
okay?
right?
Can I add one comments to it with my
Sure.
knowledge related to the
Right.
question, earlier question about the database? If your database, you have the GitHub integrated Azure SQL database, you can have the Copilot enabled there. So it's outside of the Fabric, but you can
Also the
actually
Fabric,
have
yes.
you can have that with the SQL database, and you can have
Yeah.
store procedure, everything you want to. You can get help from Copilot.
Yes.
Oh, Azure SQL database, right?
Yes.
No, I was thinking about the Fabric data warehouse itself.
Well, I mean,
Not there.
They're trying to do something there. So I was, wondering of how the multiple table transactions can be done. And we have very complicated stored procedures, and we want to change it to PySpark because we want to use the Spark engine.
Yeah.
Definitely,
No,
I think. Yeah, if you can put your LinkedIn on the chat, that would be great. Or else I'll look it up.
Sure, I will have that. Yeah, you see, but what I wanted to show is that you can translate right here, select star from AD cells here, and it's going to give you the wiring here. And I remember I did that for more complex stuff like merge, and it was able to generate me the code in PySpark for merge. Sometimes you see AI can make mistakes, right? But at least It's an see it. It's not. It will not replace you. It's an assistant. So the assistant will help you as much as it can. All right. So what's the best visualization for product counts here? So let's
Can
what
I
this
ask a
guy is.
question?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, this Copilot is really encouraging, and from what you have done, it appears to me you got to be very explicit about what exactly you are trying to do.
Yeah.
So
You need to
I'm
know what you want to do.
wondering, yeah, I'm wondering, have you tried anything a little bit complex? For example, can I say create or insert new records for type 2 slow change dimension table, something like that?
Type 2 will not work now. Right now, I can tell you. I can tell you. It's still in the preview. It's quite new. Huh? Type 2, it's too complex for Copilot to understand. Okay, but merge, as I mentioned before, generate some data. That's a good question. That's right here. But what I wanted to show here is that I can have this thing is going to give me the code that I need to use. But let's go here. Oh, you see? Yeah. I had here. You see, I had this translate here on the join. It's going to do the join for me here. So if I go here. And I say code data 80 no whoa. Generate 80 rows for my row 80 that AW. Let's see what it does. Maybe it will work, maybe it will not. So yeah. Cast string cells, yeah, you see. So range, yeah, it's going to create you a range. Yeah, it's going to generate the dummy data here. So if I just do it and I say display EF and run it, let's see what it does. Yeah, of course. Now, what's the issue here? Cannot convert, cannot resolve, date add. You see, it's not perfect now. We're here. Let's see, sometime it works. Yeah. Fix errors. See what that thing will tell us. This is the debugging help. So, but this thing will not. Yeah, it's only told us what the error was caused by. It tells you what the error, but it will not fix it. You have to understand that this is the beginning, right? So this thing is not perfect. It's only a help for you, but you need to know what you have to do. Because in the case of something like that, the syntax is not perfect, but Spark range, right? That's like expression. I need to modify this expression, but the wireframe is there, right? The syntax is there. I need to debug this now. But the thing is, it will not do completely the work for you and not for a while. Remember the Plumber video, if you were at the beginning of this presentation, the guy from Microsoft said, it's going to help you building the blocks, right? So it's going to give you the building blocks, but you need to be clever enough to assemble them, right? You need to know what you have to do.
Yeah, that's definitely okay if actually it can give me the framework or give me the structure of the code, and then that's actually still very helpful, right? Yes. Instead of starting from the scratch
all the time. This is what I like about it, right? This is what I like about Copilot here, because sometimes you don't know what is the syntax, right? You want to have a column with a sequence number. You don't you don't know, right? So this guy is going to do it for you. And this is the syntax I wanted to show you here. So let's go back to my PowerPoint.
Just keeping an eye on the time. If we want to, if you want to hold questions, so Christian can kind of finish his demo, and then we can always give you his contact information if you want to send him any questions.
I'm almost done, guys. So let me go back to my presentation. So we did the demo here. Now, what are the best practices? Quality, accuracy, yeah, the data, of course. If my data was clean, I would not need to write that amount of code, right? Test and validate the code before you deploy. Don't rely only on AI, because otherwise you will be kind of screwed, because AI will have some errors. Like you saw a lot of errors in my notebook here. So if I say simply generate the code and pass it to the other environment QA, it will fail for sure, right? Unit testing there, but also integrated testing, because my code might work, but at the end of the day, am I doing the right thing? So this is very important. Document and share your code or analyze this always. The thing is, with the add comments, it might help a lot. But at the end of the day, you need to summarize your notebook here. So, but in a notebook, that's easy because you can have some markdowns. I didn't have markdowns much in that notebook, but you can add a lot of markdowns to describe what you are doing. So conclusion, Copilot is not perfect, right? But it can help maximize data engineers' efficiency big time, especially with the notebook here. So can it with code and reduce error? Yes, but it can produce errors too, right? And it's only the beginning. It's only the inception, right? It will get better, better and better over time, but it will. We can never say never, but it will not replace the coder. Like Youngson as before, can it help to optimize the code? The code it is generating most of the time is very optimized. So that thing is not that dumb, but at some point you have to be careful, because it will be good with the code. But what about my delta tables, right? Are they optimized? Right? Am I using the right power partitioning? Copilot is not there for now. Maybe in the future that might be helpful. So, is there any other question? Yep.
I have one question.
Sure.
Great presentation, Christian. Thank you very much.
Thank
This
you.
is very helpful. Now I know that you said you were talking to one of your clients in Singapore, I think you mentioned. Anyway,
Yes.
so how do they feel when the code at the beginning it warned that be careful, your code will be shared with some server in the US?
It's dev code, the development code. It's not the dev code is okay. Code I don't mind. The data I would mind, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I would never share production data here, right? I'm doing development. Once my development is done, I don't need Copilot anymore. I would promote my code to QA, pre-prod or prod, right?
Yeah.
So
no, but so what does it share then? Does it share just code but not data, right?
They can share some simple data here,
sample data,
but mainly data structure.
Okay.
But
so there's no like the schema will be shared.
Yeah.
Basically, some of the code will be shared.
Yes.
Okay, I can see some clients will still say, I'm not sure about this.
Be careful. Yes. Yeah, but code is okay. If it's the code that you're developing, it's okay. If it's you might have, like the lady was asking before, I have store products, right? I can disassemble my store product in many parts and ask a Copilot to do it. Microsoft can't do anything about that, right? It's going to US, yes, but the US and Europe too, right? Don't have all the servers, but so if you're in Asia, they might have a data center there, but still your data is moving. The content is moving. Unless you develop in production, you should never have real data in dev, especially not with Copilot or any AI tool.
That's a good point. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a quick one.
Yeah.
I think you just showed us how to stop the fabric to basically stop the billings.
Yes.
Exactly when you say stop the fabric, what are you stopping?
Okay, if I'm not using reserve instance, if I go back here.
Yeah.
And since I'm billed $20 an hour, I'm going to do it here. I'm going to show you. Okay,
yeah.
So what I'm doing now, I created a capacity here, right? That if I don't stop it, it's going to cost me $13,000, right? So I'm going here. I'm going to pause it.
So okay.
So now, once it's pausing. Once it's paused, I will have the option to resume. It's like if you use Synapse SQL, the indicated pool, it was the same thing. I'm still paying for storage in the OneLake, but something like $20 to $25, right, per terabyte. I don't mind. But this guy here, I mind.
I think, for example, in the Synapse, you basically, the compute is basically either the serverless SQL or the Spark clusters. So is this pause stop those computings or is something else?
You have two engines. You have the SQL engine and you have the Spark engine here, right? With the Fabric, this thing stops everything. Look, I'm going to go back to my Copilot here. I cannot do anything now. I cannot. Yeah, if I try to go, I'm going to my Copilot to workspace here. I cannot even query data. If I go to
you cannot stop your cluster from here.
No, not from here. Here I can stop a session, right? But I cannot stop my compute. And now you see, I'm not able to do anything now.
Okay, that's a difference from the Synapse.
Sure. Oh yes, yes. But Synapse, you have the serverless pool, right? That was something like $6 per.
You have the cluster start Spark cluster, for example. They stop it without activity for half hour or 1 hour, depends on your configuration.
Yes. Oh yeah. This is a big difference. But the thing is, you needed to scale up to a point, right? To how many workers do I have, right? In my Spark cluster with Copilot, I don't have to do it. I'm going to pay if I use the reserve instance, $7,000 a month plus taxes, and Microsoft does its magic for me, right? And what's very interesting that I want to show you is that I'm using this Copilot, this capacity only for this workspace. If I go to, because now I don't have access to it, but if I go to my workspace, Copilot here, and I go to workspace settings, the big difference with Synapse and Databricks is this one here. So I go to Premium, will assign the capacity here, right? I can assign another capacity here. Now, because it doesn't show me the workspace because the capacity is stopped now. But if I use another workspace here, all my other workspace that use Fabric, ADCL here, if I go here and I go to workspace settings in Premium, Fabric capacity, right? So if I hadn't stopped my other capacity, my 002, the 64 one, the F64, I would be able to switch to it here. And I can assign, when I have a reserve instance, I can assign it to many workspaces, which is different. With the Databricks and Synapse, when you have compute, it's only assigned to one workspace. Right, you cannot share it with other workspaces. So this is the other difference.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, and also if people, one last thing, if people played with Databricks Connect, now here you're able to open your notebook in VS Code or VS Code for the web from here. So that's very nice. Any other questions?
Sorry, I have one quick question. Just at the end, you said you have to have one capacity per workspace. You cannot share it
with Synapse and Databricks 2, I think, because you create a workspace.
Synapse, but not in Fabric.
No, in Fabric, I can create a capacity, or I can ask Microsoft for a reserve instance, right? For my capacity, $7,000 a month plus taxes, and I can assign it to any workspaces. So Microsoft basically, from the pay-as-you-go price, if I go back to here, from the pay-as-you-go price, I go to change size. You see, they give you 45% rebate if you use the reserve instance compared to the pay-as-you-go. But the pay-as-you-go, the reserve instance, you never bother to stop it, right? It's running all the time. But you can save a lot of money in the lower environments like dev by using F8 here, and you stop and it and start it. Let me make it bigger here. Oh, yeah. Start it and stop it on demand.
Okay. And it doesn't matter how many people
are using it. If I use F2 here, I can tell you that if we are more than 2 developers working, might have some issues, might not have enough capacity, okay, for my session. The basic minimum for developers, for a team or a few developers, less than 5 is F8 here. This is the bare minimum. And if I go in my notebook, not this one here, let me go to the other one I have here. If I go to my notebook here, there are multiple sessions. There are different sessions that I can start. Let me open a notebook here, the one without Copilot. And the session that I will start, if I go to run here, you have standard session, you have high concurrency session. If I'm using F2, I cannot have a high concurrency session, which means that it can be shared by multiple notebooks here. So this is yeah.
So,
okay.
So I guess there's a link that explains all the pricing and everything, or it's not really out yet.
The link for the pricing? Yes.
Yeah.
Because if you go to Azure Calculator here, the first one here, and if I'm lucky enough, you see this is my link here. I choose my data center and the number of hours I want to use it, right? If I want to use it for a month, 1 month, it's going to cost me this amount, right? If I use 1 year reserve, so I commit Microsoft here, I don't pay, I'm not charged upfront here, so it's going to cost me this amount. But if I'm in a lower environment and I use a F8 capacity and I want to use it for 200 hours, it's going to cost me $500, right? So at that amount, I would say you want to have multiple developers, maybe F16, right? It's going to cost you if you start it and stop it, you use 8 hours per day, 7.5 hours per day. It's going to cost you this amount of money.
Okay.
So we have we're gonna thank you. We're gonna take one more question here.
Sure.
The person that has her hand up, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So I joined late. You might have covered this, but I still have a generic question. Like, I use Power BI quite a bit at work, but I struggle to learn Fabric. What's the good place or resource to tap into if you have any suggestions?
For Fabric, you have the Fabric
ecosystem.
Yeah, Fabric tutorial here.
So I know Power BI, but how do I learn Fabric?
Yeah, this is where I want to go. End-to-end Fabric tutorial with the Fabrics here. So they're going to tell you what is a lakehouse. Let me make it bigger. Data science. So what is data warehouse? If you want to do real-time analytics, and yeah, specific Power BI, you will know it, right? But the data factory. So everything I showed you here. So this is the place you should go. We'll put in the chat.
Yeah, so that's good. But sometimes you can read all this, but really it doesn't sink in until you do stuff, right? How do you
the best thing
manage?
you can do?
How
the best thing is to create a small project for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is the best. Because how you can learn all of this, if you do, you did Power BI, you did some data flows, you did a lot of Power Query with Power BI, you might want to start with Data Factory, right? The data flow Gen 2 that I covered before, because the data flow Gen 2 is basically Power Query. Okay. So you might want to start with it. Now, if when you face some limitations, what I advise you to do is to basically go to the notebook and then try to learn Python or SQL, because you can do both Python and SQL. If you want to use Copilot, Copilot only supports Python for now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. That was, obviously, there's a lot of questions. There might be a few questions that I'll forward to you as well, Christian, if you don't mind responding to those folks. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us this evening. I put Christian's info for LinkedIn in the chat if you have any questions for him, and we'll also add it to our follow-up email so that you can contact him if there's anything else. And Christian, I will see you at Fabric next week too, because I'm going.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So that'll be good. Yes. Okay. So thank you, everyone. And we hope you have a wonderful evening. Thanks.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Christian. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.